So Monday night, the Philadelphia 76ers played the Chicago Bulls. And at one point, the Sixers were down by 50. You heard me right. A team that is supposed to contend for the Eastern Conference, a potential NBA championship, was down by 50. They ended up losing 142-110. So, against a 23-win Chicago Bulls team, by the way. So, after the game, PG-13, who scored 19 points, had this to say. Listen carefully.
You guys came out of the break saying, hey, we still got a chance to make a play-in push, to have the first three out of the break go like this. I guess just how shocking, surprising, disappointing, whatever adjective you want to put on it.
I mean, it's all of it, you know. We, regardless of who's playing, who's not playing, to have admirations or for this group to believe that we can be not even, you know, to get to the playoffs, but make a push towards it. I mean, we've shown no sign of a team that will compete, and you know, we just don't have, you know, the habits of a champion or a playoff contending team would have. So, you know, to be honest, right now it's a little far-fetched. You know, all we can do is work hard and try to just keep going for one another, but we've shown no signs of forget championship, but a playoff contending, you know, team here.
So now a day or so ago, that was the first clip. So now a day or so ago, after that, after saying all of that, after it sinks in, it marinates, PG comes on his podcast and has this to say, makes this announcement.
Fellas, it's no secret. This season is up to this point, man. It hasn't been what we envisioned. I know my goal when I first signed with Philadelphia was to bring a championship to these amazing fans here. I still remain positive about that, and that is still the case and where I'm coming from. With that being said, though, I want to let the Podcast P family know that after today's episode with Dwight, I plan to take a break from the pod just to focus on getting my body right, getting mentally right, and, you know, help this squad make a push towards our goal to finish the season out, give ourselves a chance to be in contentions to compete for a championship. I won't front. The desire to get back to shooting in person with my guys as well is the forefront of, you know, this hiatus as well. I look forward to us three being back together and doing this as we once started this. So we'll be back on that note. Be sure to lock in with us because we got some big things in store in our future. In the meantime, y'all be easy. From Podcast P, love and peace.
So pretty much he makes the announcement that he's taking a hiatus from his podcast and he needs to get himself ready, get himself in shape, get himself prepped, all that stuff for a hopeful potential playoff run. Currently, the Philadelphia 76ers are 20 wins with 38 losses. They're only 2 games ahead of the Raptors. PG has played 39 games thus far out of a potential 58. He signed a 4-year, $212 million contract in the summer to play for this squad. Year 1 is almost in the books and it's unsuccessful. They're not going to make the play-in and they're not going to make the playoffs. In his 15th season in the league, he's averaging 16, 5, and 4. 16 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. His lowest in a minute. Of course, injuries play a big part. But at the end of the day, that is the reality of today's NBA. His comments there was a lot of realness in him. He's a competitor. He's been in this league for 15 years. He was in the era of the LeBrons and Kobes when playing games were absolutely essential. He has had opportunities to do great things. I mean, he had a great run in Indiana, left at 26, went to OKC for a couple years with Russ, which was potentially some of his best years. He was an MVP candidate, and then the whole mess in LA. It was a mess. Let's just stop this and let's be real. It was a mess in Los Angeles. Because I'll tell you why it was a mess. And the stats don't lie. In his 4 years in Los Angeles, 48 games, 54 games, 31 games, 56 games, and then his last year, let me correct myself, 5 years in LA. His last year at the age of 33, he played 74 games. That was the first time he played more than 57 plus games since 2018, 2019, and that was his MVP year in Oklahoma City, where he played 77 games. The most games Paul George has ever played was his 2 years out of his 7 in Indiana. 2013-2014 season when he played 80 games, and his 2015-2016 season when he played 81. And that following season, he played 75. And then when he went to OKC for his first year, he played 79. And then, of course, his MVP year, 77. Well, both years potentially were MVP years. He hasn't touched 79 games in how long? And he just played 74 last year, which, of course, he got paid. I'm not saying these guys play when it comes time to getting paid, but numbers don't lie. So at the end of the day, he says, look, man, I'm going to take some time off this pod thing. I'm going to get my body right and go for a push. Right now, you're on the same level with the Raptors, the Hornets, and the Wizards. And the Wizards is a dumpster fire. They just trade guys there who they don't want anymore. Chris Middleton deal was a perfect example. Milwaukee's like, nah, we're good with this. He never plays. Let's put him in there. Have you heard about Chris Middleton since he's been traded to Washington, folks? I'm just saying, has anybody heard of Chris Middleton since he's been traded to Washington? Exactly. So, yeah. So that's all I'm going to say. And Philadelphia, here's my opinion as a basketball guy. I'm not going to speak out of a hate or a fanboy or fangirl mentality because there's a lot of that. I'm going to speak as a basketball fan. As a basketball fan, as a guy who watches the game, analyzes the game, and I love the new school, but I appreciate the old school. I love the old school. I appreciate the old school and love it with a passion, but I also love the new school. If these players were molded a different way, treated a certain way, coached a better way, we wouldn't even be talking about comparing it to the 90s, early 2000s. But anyways, PG realizes that things are not looking good. This is an emergency situation. This is not a bad situation. This is an emergency situation in Philadelphia. And they need to clean house. No questions about it. They have to clean house. First order of business is trading my boy Embiid. Embiid's got to go. They got to find a way to do something with him. This is a business. I'm happy he got his money. I'm always about players getting paid. I don't care if they're overpaid. Get your money, take care of yourself properly, and the rest will come into place, will fall into place. They got to get rid of Embiid. They got to clear house. Maybe Nick Nurse has got to go. Maybe management's got to go. Daryl Morley definitely has to go. He's a bad influence, but that's a whole different conversation for another day. So for the Sixers, shout out to Paul George. He realizes it's an emergency, and the Sixers need to rebuild. So now I want you guys to listen to this clip from Channing Frye. There's a little bit of coarse language, so I apologize for that. Before you hear it, I'm just letting you guys know there is a little coarse language in this one, and then I'm going to comment on that.
Nostalgia is killing the NBA. The 90s basketball, Michael Jordan and Kobe, was not as clean as y'all think it was. Y'all forget that Jordan left the league for 2 years. Y'all forget that Kobe, rest in peace, quit on his team in the playoffs and did not shoot the basketball. So all this Kobe, Jordan, oh, he's not this, he's not that. That is propaganda. Every great player, whether that's Ant, Wemby, Bron, Steph, this, that. They compare him to a motherfucker 40 years ago. The rules weren't even the same. You're not really watching help side defense. Who's doing this? What is this rule? What is that rule? You're not watching. Nobody celebrates these new people. So why the fuck would anybody want to be the face of this league where you're going to get shitted on every network for not being somebody from 40 fucking years ago? It's ridiculous. It is unfair. Bron is one of the greatest players ever to play. Stephen Curry is one of the greatest players ever to play. Giannis is one of the great. Jokic. And you know what we do? We talk about fucking Michael Jordan. All this superstar era shit is over. The card cap called the second apron, it's over. Teams are going to take over.
So that was Channing Frye. He has some very good points. I know a lot of people have shoot him down, and you got people coming on their podcasts, their TV networks. He has a very good point. It's tough to meet the expectations of a Kobe and Michael. It really is. And the other greats, including LeBron. I'm putting LeBron in that era because LeBron was in the late 90s, early 2000s. LeBron's been in the league for 20 years. He's part of that era. I'm putting the late 80s, early 90s, and early 2000s. LeBron's in that bucket. So we're not going to put LeBron. LeBron's 40 years old. He's done his thing. He's been a GM. He's been a coach. He's been an Olympian. He's done all that. I'm talking about the new guys here. Why I have a slight disagreement to what he's saying is because the effort is not put in. The effort is not put in. If the effort was put in, there would be no argument to Channing Frye's debate. Nobody wants to be the leader of the league. They don't want to. It's too much responsibility. This generation of basketball players have had so much given to them, not by choice. They didn't beg for it. They've been given to it. The AAU system, the high school system, the prep system, even some of the systems in Europe, the TV coverage they get, the social media coverage they get, the women that they're throwing at these guys, all this stuff. And you think I'm lying, go check. And then the fashion stuff that they do. Go check if you think I'm talking foolishness. What do you expect? It has been a very interesting era the last 10, 15 years for basketball. And it hasn't helped the game. It hasn't helped the high school game. It hasn't helped the prep school game. It hasn't helped the AAU game. It hasn't helped house league game. It hasn't helped the college game. And it transcends into the NBA game. And now you see the results. Fans show up more for games for players that don't play than they have to show up for games to players that they actually want to see play. It's like playing the lottery. You have a better chance of winning the lottery than going to a game and hoping that your favorite player is actually going to play. And I say that with facts. Go look at the numbers. It's an absolute dismal percentage of games that these guys miss. And then, the question is when they're healthy, why they take an extra game. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is the game and the structure of the game is no good. I don't want to hear about Steph Curry, this and that. Steph Curry is a master of what he does. He's a three-point specialist. He's a marksman at his craft. And why Steph Curry got to this point is because he practices it. He didn't ask people to be like him. He don't care. He's got a wife and 4 kids to go home to. He don't care if people want to try to master his craft. You're not going to master his craft. Steph Curry is Steph Curry. You see all these kids trying to be Steph Curry. Don't do that. Try to be you. Like Kevin Durant is a baller. That's a basketball player. That's not even an NBA player. He's a basketball player. And when I say that with the utmost respect. Kevin Durant could play basketball anywhere in the world. Street ball, NBA, Europe, it doesn't matter. He could play. He's a baller. Russell Westbrook is a baller. The energy and the skill set is what makes you a baller. And I can give you a bunch of other guys that I put in that baller list. Those two I'm going to leave at that. Those are sensational basketball players. I know the media has their comments about these guys, but Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, two of my favorites, sensational basketball players. They could ball anywhere, period. So, besides everything that Shannon said, I agree. But at the same time, the boys got to put in the effort. You guys have been given everything. You've been given all the stuff I mentioned before, and you've been given a nice paycheck. Come on. Give us something. Give me 65 games. I'm not going to shoot you. It's a different era. Like, people got to calm down. And you got more time between games, and you barely do back to back to back to back now. You get a week off for the All-Star game. Then you have to play in where the playoff, the top 6 in each conference that gets in, you get to chill for a week. Come on, guys. Give me something. Come on. The fans want to see you play. That's the thing. The fans want to see you play. It's not like we don't want to see you play. I want to see you play. It's basketball. I love basketball. So I want to see you play. Now I want you to listen to this clip from the former NBA player, BJ Armstrong. BJ has something interesting to say, and he's absolutely right. So I want you to listen to this clip, and I'll make a comment on that.
I grew up in an era where the coaches were actual teachers of the game. I'm going to say that again. The coaches were actually teachers of the game. They weren't trainers. Phil Jackson wasn't a trainer. Phil Jackson wasn't rebounding for me. Phil Jackson wasn't teaching me double step backs, Tex Winners, and all these people who are Hall of Fame coaches, Chuck Daly, all these people. They weren't teaching people individual moves. They wanted to know, hey, man, you going to get this loose ball when we need it? You going to take that charge when Jeff Ruling them and Charles Barkley and them running full speed? That's what they were demanding from me. We have to create an environment in which people are comfortable being uncomfortable. And that is the issue now. Now, what everybody doing? Scott, your shoulder hurts today? Let's sit out for precautionary reasons.
BJ Armstrong. Can't disagree with him either, you know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, that's what it is. Like, I feel like a lot of coaches are just there for the paycheck and for the spotlight. Like, I mean, there's still a few guys out there that are doing their thing, and, you know, like the Rick Pitino's. You know, he's got the little camera thing going on right now with that St. John's thing there, that show that he has going on. But he's still, you could watch him, you could see the passion in him as a coach. Pop, who, you know, if most of you don't know by now, is going through some stuff. You know, guys like that, you know, coaching is it's a passion. If you love coaching, you're not going to coach. If you're passionate about coaching, you're going to coach, man. Like the late, great John Thompson. You know, guys like Nolan Richardson. I'm just saying. If you don't know Nolan Richardson, Google him. Arkansas Razorbacks, the 40 minutes of hell on defense. I've never seen a coach defense like that and absolutely succeed. 2 straight NCAA finals, 1 national championship. How many coaches have done that? Exactly. So you got to have a passion for something. If you don't have a passion for something, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it the way it's supposed to be done. If you don't have a passion for something, you're not going to do it the way it's supposed to be done. So that's my thing. And also, before I close off, I want to comment on something too with Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter yesterday had his media thing there at the Combine, which was absolutely a lot of people that were there for that. And he says he's just different. He wants to play both positions. Great, you can. This is the NFL. And there's a lot of guys that walked into the NFL with that same attitude and thought that they were going to be different and thought that they were going to do something and found out that it was going to be a world that they never expected. The NFL is a different man's world. It's a league of men, giants, assassins, and mercenaries. That is the NFL. So, Travis, all the Travis Hunters out there who think that they're just different, you're going to find out in September of 2025 what the NFL is. It's not the league you expect. Gladiators play in the NFL. This is not college football. This is not Division I, Division II, Division III. This is not HSBCU. So I'm just saying. But he has Deion Sanders to help him out, which is a big, 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 big plus. So I'm rooting for him. For me, it's more about his career, getting his check, and just safety and mental health is the ultimate thing for me and him. I always tackle the mental health issue. I don't care if people say, oh, again, mental health is a huge, huge thing in pro sports and in life itself. So as long as he has those things intact, he will be just fine. But just be careful saying I'm just different, because the NFL, like I said, is a different league. It's a league of gladiators. So that's my quick take, folks. I'm out. Peace.